They say a house built on a cracked foundation will someday bow to the storm. Nigeria's story didn't begin with independence. It began with a signature on paper in a colonial office thousand miles away. Have you ever wondered why a nation blessed with gold, oil, and brilliant minds bleeds in the hands of our own children? Why a people who should be united under one flag spend decades pointing fingers at each other? This is not just a story of oil and politics. It is a story of a blueprint for disaster drawn before we were born. This is the hidden truth behind the civil war that many still whisper about in corners. When the roots of a tree are poisoned, the fruit will carry the taste of death. Stay with me, because by the end of this journey, you will understand how 1914, a year many only remember for amalgamation, silently scripted the tragedy that still shadows Nigeria today. Today, I am not just telling a history lesson. I am opening a chapter they never taught us in school. I will take you through the secret deals, the colonial games, the planted rivalries, and how a pen stroke turned brothers into strangers. You will see how one decision, not made by Nigerians, but by foreign powers, created a fragile union between the North and the South. You will discover how the ghost of 1914 still works in our politics, whispers in our elections, fuel our divisions, and lights the fire beneath our national conflicts. By the end of this talk, you won't just have the story, you will understand the playbook. And more importantly, I will give you practical steps on how we, not the colonizers, can rewrite our own narrative. Because a man who does not know where the rain began to beat him will not know where it stops. This is not just history, this is a mirror. Let's travel back to 1914. The cock crows over the north, the mangroves sing in the south, the people till the land, trade their goods, live their lives, unaware that a marriage without love is being arranged for them. In a cold British office, Frederick Lugard signs a document merging the Northern and Southern Protectorate. But hear this, it wasn't a wedding of hearts, it was a marriage of convenience. The oil in the south will fill the pockets of the empire, and the docile north shall be the loyal watchdog of British interests. They called it amalgamation, but it was nothing more than a colonial business deal. Oil had already been spotted in the Niger Delta in 1908 by British geologists. The North was conservative and loyal to Emirate power. The South was educated, vocal, and restless. The British needed a gatekeeper, not a partner, so they handed political power to the North and economic value to the South, like putting a match beside a barrel of dry firewood. When two brothers fight, a stranger will inherit their father's house, and so they set the house on a slow burn. In 1908, a white man named Albert Ernest Kissinger discovered bitumen seepages in the Niger Delta. It was a clue, a silent whisper that oil was buried deep beneath. But Britain wasn't looking for oil as at that time. They wanted coal to power their empire. Coal came in 1909 from Enugu. Amalgamation followed in 1914. By 1937, Shell, the AXI Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria, got its license to explore oil. By 1956, oil was found in commercial quantity at Oloibiri. But this is where the knife cuts deeper. The South had the oil, the North had the political authority. It was a master stroke of manipulation. Behind closed doors, secret memos were exchanged. One marked confidential, eyes only declared. The North will always be more loyal to British interests than the educated South. It is essential that the North should always have political superiority over the South. The colonial master didn't just merge lands, they engineered distrust. The years rode like an old drumbeat. The North was groomed for leadership. The South was watched like a restless child. British officers called the North our loyal sons, and they branded the South as troublemakers. They handed the steering wheel to the North and told the South to sit quietly at the back. Even Nanda Zikiwe, Zik of Africa, cried out, "It is better we disintegrate in peace than integrate in pieces." But the colonial masters turned deaf ears. Population figures were written in favor of the North, parliamentary seats allocated like spoils of war. The seed of discord had been planted, watered, and was already growing under the surface. He who controls the head controls the body. Independence came in 1960 with the fireworks and the anthems, but the house was already cracked. The North ruled, the South grumbled, the East watched in silence. The anthem sang of unity, but the people whispered of betrayal. Not all that glitters is gold. The firewood was dry. All it needed was a spark. In 1966, the first coup arrived like a storm, and the flames leaped high. Many say the civil war was tribal, Hausa versus Igbo, Yoruba versus others. But the truth runs deeper. It was the final act of a colonial script. When the hunter learns to shoot without missing, the bird learns to fly without pitching. The British had left, but they left their ghost behind. Ask yourself, what if the North and South had never been forced together? What if power went to the most capable, not the most loyal? What if each region had grown at its own pace, like brothers owning separate farms but trading in peace? Perhaps we would have had a federation of strong regions, not a fractured house with leaking walls. But history cannot be rewritten, only retold. The blueprint for disaster still breathes beneath our soil, and the ghost of Lord Lugard still walks the corridors of power, smiling in the shadows. We can't change the past, but we can decode its language. Here is what we must do. Number one, learn our true history, not the sugar-coated version in school books. Every Nigerian must understand the root of the problem before prescribing a cure. Number two, encourage regional strength, not rivalry, like fingers in one hand. Each region has its strength. If one finger fights another, the whole hand bleeds. Number three, demand equity in governance. Power should be shared by merit, not manipulated by old colonial structures. Number four, end historical silence. Nations that forget their wounds keep bleeding from the same spot. Number five, raise new voices. This generation must not inherit the bitterness of old wounds, but build bridges over them. A man who refuses to learn from yesterday is already walking into tomorrow blindfolded. Nigeria doesn't need another colonial architect. Nigeria needs a new blueprint designed by her children, owned by her people, powered by truth. We must stop dancing around the crack and start rebuilding the foundation. This is not about North or South, East or West. It is about survival or collapse. The colonial ghost can only remain if we keep the door open. The day we close it with the truth, unity, and justice, that ghost loses its power. A nation that holds the pain can rewrite its own story. My friend, if this story opened your eyes, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone. Start the conversation. Let our generation be the one that breaks the colonial chain. Drop your thought in the comment section. Tell me, do you believe Nigeria's division is accidental or engineered? And don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share this story far and wide. Follow our Facebook page and get a copy of The Hidden Truth by Amechi Ogalago if you need the full gist. Because when truth travels, lies begin to shake. If you light a candle in the dark, others will find their way. The blueprint for disaster was written before your father was even born. But the blueprint for a new Nigeria can be written today by you, by me, and by us. So here is my challenge to you. Be a student of truth. Be a messenger of unity. Be the hand that seals the crack, not the one that widens it. When the drumbeat changes, the dancer must also change his step. The colonial ghost may still smile in the shadows, but when the children of the land wake up, the ghost disappears. This is not just history. This is the call of destiny. Thank you for watching this video. Let's rebuild the house. Not for them, but for us. Thank you for listening to me and for your time. And I wish you share this video so wide that it can go viral, so that Nigeria will sit up and know that this country belongs to all of us. We need to do something instead of continuing with what our colonial masters has put in place. Thank you for watching this video, and please share it.